the first part, but we'll go ahead. Okay.
So who is making the decisions and who is deciding your future? In other words, who is voting? And I'm going to ask you to think a minute about what percentage of the people who were eligible to vote actually voted in the presidential election in 2020 nationwide. Give people a minute to think, come up with a number in your mind. You can put it in the chat room as well. We'll see how close people came.
Some people might be able to cheat because they were here the other day when we went through it too. Okay, here we go.
Well, that's not cheating. That's getting accurate information from a trusted source.
There you go.
So there's 60%, 66%, 60, 60, 60, 57. Well, I guess you folks
they learned their lessons well, right?
Okay, let's look at the chart. Let me close the little chat. Okay, here's the actual voter turnout. The big yellow piece of the pie, I don't know if you can read those light gray numbers, but that's the number of people who voted. That's 66.2%, and 33.8% didn't vote. Looks pretty good, right? However, this is not the whole picture. It was not always this way. Voter turnout in 2020 was huge. In 2018, which was the last midterm election, it was only 50%, which means 50% of the people are making the decisions that are going to affect 100% of the people. The next 4 slides are...
You're going to turn over to me, right?
Okay. And I will. And is there a way to get rid of the that says this meeting is being recorded?
I don't know where that is on your
Okay,
screen.
I just did it. I'm fine.
Oh, okay, good. All right. On the next 4 slides, we're going to show the difference by age in the percentage of eligible voters who actually voted in the presidential election. Now, some of you saw these earlier in the week, so I'm going to flip through them pretty quickly. But the thing that I want you to notice is how your age group compares to others. And at this point, if I'm in a classroom, I'm also going to take a few minutes to talk about the graph itself to make sure that the kids understand that what is actually shown. So on this one, the voter turnout by age is being shown, and it's just in presidential elections. It's just 18 to 24-year-olds on this particular graph. So that's the heading. On the vertical axis, you see that the numbers go from 0% all the way up to 100%. So you're getting the whole picture. If it was only from 30 to say 60%, it would look very much different. Across the bottom are the years of the elections that we're showing you. From 2000 to 2020 is just about the length of time that most of you, the students, have actually been on this earth. So I'm going to ask you, before we flip to the next slide, what's one thing you notice about voter turnout between in the age group from 18 to 24?
The election of 2008 in the past election brought more young people out to vote, mainly I think because of in 2008 it was Obama. I'm still blank for his name for a minute. And this time I think it was because of the candidates in 2020.
Good. You did something perfect for teaching. You said something that you can absolutely see from the graph, which is that the turnout in 2008 and 2020 is similar. And then you made the assumption that it's probably because Obama was being elected in 2008 and he appealed to younger people. And in 2020, there was a lot of concern among young people about which candidate was going to be better for them in their future, because their future is what's really important to them. So that's a great observation. And Carol, I appreciate that. Okay, so let me flip through these quickly. And if you're interested, you can do this as yourself. So you can look at your own age group when it comes up. But I also want you to have like an alter ego, and I want you to look at it as if you were a 17 or 18-year-old. So, and in that perspective, this would be the line that would show turnout in your group. This adds 25 to 44-year-olds. This adds 45 to 64-year-olds. And this adds people 65 to 74. What's one thing the slides tell you for sure? And then what's an assumption that you might make? And you can just call out your answer. Something you know for sure.
As when I would be registering kids, I would point out that, because I would have some of this data when I could do it in person, that we all folk make all the decisions for them. And if they want to have any say, they need to get out and vote.
I like that. Anybody else?
That's true.
I would offer.
I agree with you, because the line is even across. So they come out every year, regardless of what's going on, and vote. I really think that that's because the older folk earned that vote. You know, earned the vote.
Right.
Through wars or whatever. And so that's why they don't miss the vote for the most part.
Okay, that was great in terms of something that was shown with the data and an assumption made from it. Good. Sherry, you started to say something.
Just that I used to tell my students something that I repeated something that Jimmy Carter, an answer that he gave when someone asked about voting. And he said, the reason that we are concerned about making sure that old people or older people get what they want is because usually 20% of 20-year-olds vote, 40% of 40-year-olds vote, 60% of 60-year-olds vote. So that if you want to change things, you got to get out there and you got to vote.
I like that.
That's what he'd say. Yeah.
I like that. Okay.
So I just wanted to say, so the graph is the percentage of voters in that age group. So 40% of all the 18 to 24-year-olds who can vote.
Mhm.
And it's 60% of all the 25 to 44-year-olds who can vote, not the percentage of votes. So it does, it's not, okay, so where would we see the percentage of votes? So what percentage of those who voted were?
You can go back. These figures all come from the census figures for 2020. If you want to get that specific piece of information, you can also get that there. Okay. Another source that you can turn to for that kind of information is Tufts University's Circle program, which has aggregated all kinds of data. It's really a fascinating website. It's specifically focused on young people, but it includes data on everything. They're the ones who also aggregated the data and then analyzed it state by state in terms of voter turnout this past time for young people. And what they found was that there was a substantial increase in young voter turnout, but the voter turnout by state varied widely. And the thing that just tickled me to death was that New Jersey had the highest increase in young voter turnout during the 2020 election. They were #1 out of all of the states. 67% of eligible young people between the ages of 18 and 24 turned out in New Jersey this year. So I would love to think that we have something to do with that change. I don't know if we do, but I did speak to the woman who was in charge of the analysis of that data and asked her if there was a breakdown by county. And in October, that should be available. And so I'm going to be looking to see if Monmouth County shows up as one of the bigger places where the increase took place, because that would say to me that we probably are having an effect in actual turnout. We know we have an effect on intention to vote, but that actual turnout is a piece that we have no real conception about yet. So keep your fingers crossed. So at any rate, I should have skipped forward to this next graph because you can see that the little image is up there, and you can also have the students put down facts and assumptions. You
What was
can,
it? Can I just ask? Could
Sure.
you repeat the name of the Vanderbilt? I'm sorry, the Tufts University program.
Tufts University circle, like the image circle.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So you can have the students write it on their own piece of paper. You can have them write it in the chat, or as we've done the last couple of days, you can use something like a Jamboard and have the students pick up sticky notes and then put down what they think are facts and assumptions. You can even take one of the Jamboards when you set it up, divide it down the center, put facts on the top, assumptions on the other side, and have them put down what their thoughts are in each of the columns. Some of the platforms like Zoom also lets you use a whiteboard, which you can do the same thing with. So there are lots of options as you get more comfortable with the different ways to present something. I think I did make up a Jamboard like that so that you can see. And then you can take a sticky note and say, old people, oops, vote more often. And I would say that's a fact that I can tell and put it there. And then a student might make an assumption. Young people vote when the candidates are important to them. And that assumption. So I'd move it over here. So you get the idea. Okay, so who votes? Let's go on and look at another set of slides. The next four show the difference by race or ethnicity in the percentage of eligible voters who actually voted in the presidential elections, again from 2000 through 2020. And we asked the kids to notice how their own race or ethnicity compares to other groups. Now, the US Census has changed the way they categorize people in 2020. In the past, it used to be white non-Hispanic, Black non-Hispanic, Hispanic, and other. And the other included Pacific Islanders, Alaskan Natives, Indigenous people, and Asians and people of mixed race. This year, that category disappeared, and there's a category just for Asian. So when you see the graph, you have to keep that in mind, that it's a slightly different groups of figures that are represented by each, but I think it's fair to say that it's still pretty representative of the way turnout has come, because when I look at it, the line that's Asian now almost mimics exactly the line that was that other category before. So I think we're pretty safe. So at any rate, here is the turnout by non-Hispanic whites. We have to add the non-Hispanic Black population. And I think there's something interesting to note there.
Mm-hmm.
This includes the Hispanic population. And now we have the Asian population. So again, what facts and what assumptions might you make based on the data that is in the graph in the upper right-hand corner? I'm gonna go back to the one before because that's the old graph. This is the new one. And you can, again, you can just speak out.
Well, it looks like the non-Hispanic Blacks did not turn out as well in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't turn out at the polls. It looks like the Asian race or group
Mhm.
well, the Asian, yeah, like you say, race or ethnic.
Yeah.
And what's the best way to put that? Because I don't want to be,
That's a very good question.
yeah,
As I started to say, the census includes race as non-Hispanic white, non-Hispanic black, and Asian, which I guess includes both, but they consider Hispanic an ethnicity because in the Hispanic ethnicity, you have people of all colors. So I think that's the why they broke it out the way. So I would say in this group, you can be comfortable saying non-Hispanics or Hispanics, you can say whites, blacks, Asian, and so on.
okay, okay. So it looks like the Asian group is rising, and the Hispanic group, they're turning out more at the polls.
Right.
Anybody want
white-
to add? If you had another observation, go ahead and make it. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
That's what I was saying. And the white, it just looks like that the black dropped off.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, they're coming up a little bit from 2016, but and they dropped significantly from 2008. So it's interesting.
Well, why would the turnout have been that high in 2008? What
Because of
assumption can you make? Yeah.
that President Obama was,
And it was high in 2012 too, because he was running again.
yeah.
Well, the other thing in 2020 was that we had an I'm trying to say it nicely, a method of suppression,
Yes.
voter suppression
Mhm.
in 2020, and that definitely affected the
Turnout.
what do you call that, non-Hispanic black. So which
Mhm.
it's hard to see those little colored things on the bottom, but the red line.
Yeah, that's the non-Hispanic black population.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, and when you think about that, you can almost make a projection if that trend continues. And if you're watching the news, it's quite likely that there will be efforts to increase voter suppression in some areas of the country that could definitely affect the turnout in the next election. So,
Mhm.
but that's an assumption. I want to make it clear
Yes.
that that's just something that a person could make an assumption from this data.
Right.
Okay, so what happens if you don't vote? Well, people who are in power listen to those people who put them there, which are the people who vote. And the higher the voter turnout in a particular group, then the stronger that group's voice is. So if you don't vote, no vote, no voice. And then we talk to them about, okay, so how can you make your voice louder? Louisa.
Okay, we are promoting a three-step approach here. First, a person has to register to vote or make sure that they're registered. Second part is to commit to voting, to really decide this is what you're going to do. And the third part, of course, is the actual voting process. So let's take a look one at a time. The qualifications for voting in this country are really very simple. You need to be a US citizen, 17 years of old to register, although you can't actually vote until you turn 18. You need to be a resident of the county that you're voting in for 30 days before the election. And you can't be currently serving a prison sentence for a felony. There has been a new and wonderful change in the voting rules in New Jersey, and people currently on parole or probation can vote now. If they were incarcerated for a felony prior to their parole or probation, they will need to register or re-register if they had previously been registered. But people on parole or probation can now vote, which is great.
So I have a question. If I move to a different county
Mhm.
and I'm not there for 30 days, can I vote in my old county or no? I just can't
Yes.
vote. I can
No,
vote.
no. No,
Okay.
no. You vote where you're registered to vote. So if you're
Okay.
moving and are not going to be there for 30 days before the election, you can vote in your old address where you were previously registered.
Okay, very good.
That's
Okay,
correct.
The
That's
other
good.
thing to make a point of is if you happen to be using this with somebody out of state, they need to check with their own state website to make sure that the voter requirements are the same, because they differ from state to state. And that goes all the way back to the founding of the country, when the founders decided that the state should have the biggest influence in who had the opportunity to vote. And the federal government has stepped in a couple of times, but and they're being asked to step in again right now. But there are very few instances where the federal government will take steps to override what the states have decided.
Those first two things, though, of course, are nationwide, that you have to be a citizen 18 years old.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So
Are you already registered? You may have registered and be registered and not even know about it, because if you got your New Jersey driver's license since 2018, you were automatically registered to vote. There was a change in the law then, and registration to vote was automatic when you interacted with the motor vehicles department, unless you signed an opt-out. I don't know what to, an opt-out agreement. Unless you opted out, you are registered to vote. Now, at that time, you may have also received in the mail a voter registration card, a voter acknowledgement card in the mail. You don't need to have this card to vote, so don't feel like you have to root through all your papers to find it. But it is a reminder that you are registered. And once you're 18, there are two places you can check to see if you're registered. Now, keep in mind that your name will not appear on the state database of registered voters until you're 18 and you can actually vote. If you're 18, you can check at these two places. The first is vote411.org. That is a website set up by the League of Women Voters with all kinds of information on it. Do you want to click on that, Pat?
I will.
Cool. This is a wonderful site. You can see across the top, you can get information about registering to vote, verifying your voter registration, and remove my little, finding out what's on your ballot. If you put in your address at the bottom, you can find out all those things that are checked on the left. It's a great source of information, and we're going to be referring to it several times today.
Okay. And this, I put in my personal address just then, and so you can see how it all comes up. This is another thing that's really interesting, is the first-time voter checklist, especially when you're working with young people. It gives them all of this information specifically geared to their age group.
In this, can I ask a question?
Sure.
In this on this particular slide, especially since it indicates the voter acknowledgement card, do you think that it's a good idea to stress and encourage the voter, the young adult, any voter, to also know their district that they're required to vote in? You know, to make a mention of that.
That's a very good idea.
Just wrote it down.
Okay, good. Because if you go to vote 411 and put in your address, I think it comes up with your district. And if not there,
It does.
sites
It
that
does.
say that.
And I know from poll activities, because I have worked the poll, you have to be able to know how to navigate if you have 3 or 4 districts in one facility.
Mhm.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
You know, so as people come in the door, you know, that okay.
Yeah,
But
no,
made my point.
that's really a good point, Rosemary. And
That's very
I
good.
think the other thing that we might include there in another bullet point is that the sample ballot will tell you exactly where you need to go to
Yeah.
vote. So I think that's a good addition that we'll make.
So I had no idea that if at driver's license, if you got your driver's license after 2018 and you didn't opt out, you were registered to vote. That is like new to me. And so do they automatically
It-
also get the voter acknowledgement card? Because it says if you're registered. So does that mean if you're passively registered by getting your driver's license, you also get the acknowledgement card? Or if you actively register, you get the voter acknowledgement card, or both?
I think you're supposed to get it if you actively register or passively register. But
Okay.
I heard that not everybody is getting them. I don't know if that's a glitch that has since been worked out or not. But
Okay.
you don't really need the card. So
So because you don't get the card, you really don't know. So it's a good idea to go on the website and make sure that everything
make
went
sure
through.
you're registered, yes. And some people don't know that when they get their driver's license, they're automatically registered. And it's not just the driver's license. If you interact with a state agency, and if you aren't currently registered, they automatically register you. So I think that I can't give you a list of agencies, but it's supposed to work with any state agency.
I wonder if that has any impact on the low numbers at the polls, because maybe they don't know that they're already registered. Just those young
Maybe.
voters.
Well,
Okay.
That's a valid point.
they would get a sample ballot as well prior to the election. So that might be another clue, unless they
Okay.
just don't pay attention to what comes in the mail, which can also be the case.
Yeah, the age,
So-
look at the age, okay? They don't.
Right.
And
Right.
so many items come in the mail and they're made to look like official documents, and we've got
Yes.
a habit of tossing them out.
Yeah.
Okay, and the New Jersey Board of Elections will take you right to the voter registration database to find out if you are registered. But are in doubt, you can register. And we'll show you how in a minute. And if it's a duplicate registration, they will take out the duplication and everything will work out.
Okay.
Whoops.
I hit the wrong button there. There
Okay.
you go.
Do we happen to have data that tells us how many actually opt out?
I don't
Oh,
know.
I'm sure the state would have that data, but I didn't think to look it up. So,
Okay, I'll make a note, sorry.
yep, that's good.
Yeah. I don't know if it's public data. I suppose it should be, but. All right, there are two ways to register, either online, which is a new option in New Jersey, or you can get a paper registration form and fill it out. The online registration is wonderful. We'll show you how to do it. To register online, you can go directly to the New Jersey Board of Elections or your County Board of Elections website. New Jersey Board of Elections, I will show you what that looks like.
Okay, you can also use your phone to take a picture of the QR code, and that will take you right to it, as well as the logo of the New Jersey Motor Vehicle Commission. So that's also new.
This is the New Jersey Voter Information Portal, and similarly to 411, Vote 411, it is a wealth of information, and it has all kinds of information on voting. You need to click on the New Jersey Voter Information Portal icon there from the menu, and I'm sure students can navigate their way around here. They're used to navigating. All the information about early voting, registering, checking to see if you're registering, how to vote by mail, how to track your ballot after you've voted, all about secure drop boxes and polling locations. So all your important questions about voting can be answered right there, and it's very well set up. Oh, there's the information. Wait,
Oh, okay.
this is the information that I was waiting for.
For what?
About early voting.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that is new, I believe, on that site. They have the dates.
It's the 23rd through the 31st.
Right.
But the
Yeah.
county, the only thing that has been uniform is that each of the counties have to have the same hours. The county clerks, they
Mhm.
they have to have the same hours. But what, as I last uh, uh, know about, is the county clerks will also determine which polls will be open. They still had not yet affirmed that all polls in that county would be open for those for that 23rd through the 31st. Only
Can we,
because if you would need poll workers.
Mhm.
right. Can we assume that that information would be on the sample ballot?
I
Because
I
they
would
tell you
think
your
so.
regular polling place. I assume they would tell you your early polling place.
Well,
Maybe.
on here it says information about early voting or early polling locations and other
Locations.
related information's coming soon. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that's a
It's
check back.
coming from is coming from the county clerk.
Right.
So what I've been telling people, I'm only sharing because what I've been telling people is check your county clerk, check your county clerk to
Mhm, mhm.
determine the poll location, etc.
We do make reference somewhere in the presentation about Monmouth County votes,
Yes.
which takes you directly to the county clerk.
Okay.
Okay, should I go back?
Sure. All right, now to register online, of course, you need a form of identification and a way to provide a signature. Signature is your identifier because when you go to vote at the polls, they check your signature at the poll against a signature of record, which is on the poll books, the list of voters, and it needs to match. When doing it online, you can provide a signature either via the motor vehicles because you sign for your driver's license, or you sign for the non-driver's ID at motor vehicles. Another way to do this is using your social security number and entering your signature. Now, you can enter your signature either on a computer screen, or you can scan it and upload it onto the online registration website. But we want to alert students that there is an issue with signatures. We know that students don't always use the same signature. They jazz it up, or they change from a name to a nickname or something of that nature. And it's important to know that your signature is kept on the roll book of registered voters. And so at the polls, it has to match the signature of record. And on the mail-in ballot, your signature has to match the signature of record. So, next slide. Here's the issue. If you register using a keypad while using your driver's license or registering online, your signature might be fuzzy or unreadable. And sometimes if there is a mismatch, if they deem that the signature on your ballot doesn't match your signature of record, they can reject your ballot. However, if it's rejected because of a signature issue, there is a way to resolve it, and you will get a notification that there was a mismatch and with instructions on how to resolve it. So to avoid that, if you think your signature could be a problem, you should just register again. Paper voter registration form, and we'll see that form in a minute. And at the very top of the form is a little box that says signature update, and you just check that and re-register and you're all set. So how do you get this paper voter registration application? Two places to go to. Again, the New Jersey Division on Elections, which we've already looked at, that could give you your voter registration form in several different languages. Pat is
Is
leading.
it the register to vote one?
Mhm.
Yeah, okay, and then where is it? Registration applications
Yes.
and all the
And
way
it goes
down.
by county. And if you scroll to the bottom, you choose your county. But if you want it in a different language, you need to go to statewide voter registration application, and you can see all the languages that are possible. The other place to vote, to find a paper application is at Monmouth County Votes. This is a site unique, obviously, to Monmouth County, also full of voting information. You want to click on that just so people can see?
Which do you want?
The Monmouth County Votes.
Sure.
And don't worry, we have a whole list of these at the end of the presentation, so you'll have them all in one place. This is our Monmouth County clerk with all the information that you see there about voter registration, requesting a ballot, polling places, and so forth. Okay, we can go back now. So, but I forgot to mention the League of Women Voters. The last one. Okay, as a last resort, or maybe even your first resort, you can text the League of Women Voters. We are here to help. The number is 732-927-1131. And if you need a form, you just text "need form" to that number. Someone will be in touch and mail one to you. And also, if you have any other questions about voting, there is someone who will get back to you and give you the information you need. And, you know, these forms are also widely available at the county election office, at your local library, at town halls, and so forth. And now that at the moment we can enter these buildings, you can pick one up at those places. Okay, I think we're done with that. This is what the form looks like. I'm just going to point out a few important pieces of it with the yellow arrows. The first box is where you check reason for submitting this application. Either it's a new registration, address change. If you move from one place in the county to another, or if you are new to the county, you check address change. Name change, if you get married or something of that sort. Here's the signature update box. Political party affiliation, I'm going to tell you about that in a minute. Or if you want a vote by mail ballot. If you go down to box number 13, that's the political party affiliation. If you affiliate with either the Democratic Party or the Republican Party for purposes of voting in the primary election for that party, this is where you click yes and you put in the name Democrat, Republican. You can also put in another party, the Green Party or Libertarians, but they don't have primary elections. So there's really no need to do that. Or you click no, you do not want to be associated with a political party. We have been explaining to people that they should not write in independent because it's unclear whether there is actually a political party called the Independent Party. If people don't want to be affiliated with a party, that means non-affiliated. It doesn't mean independent. Did I explain that right? It's a little complicated. Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So the non-affiliated, is there any, oh, I should have let you finish the form. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Go ahead.
Here's my question. If the person selects non-affiliated,
right,
is there any discussion that if they choose to vote Republican or Democrat, that they will then be moved or added to that party?
We did cover that in more detail at the time of the primary election because it was really important at that point.
Okay.
So We could put it in if you feel that it's, if it's important at this point.
Okay, here was my mindset
Uh-huh.
in asking that question. So
Yeah.
if the student, the high schooler, or and they're teaching this to their family at home, is that a fact that should be shared with parents or uh, new citizens who are
Mhm,
not yet familiar with the process or something like that? So I'm really just devil's advocate question.
Yeah,
That's where that came from.
That's a
yeah,
good point.
that's a good point.
Thanks, Rosemary.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what is the answer? Because I want to know, I don't know. If so,
Oh,
somebody
well,
puts
the answer is if you are listed as an unaffiliated voter, what you can show up at the primary and declare a party affiliation, and then you will be affiliated with that party unless and until you fill out a voter
Change
registration
back.
application and change it.
so if I always want to be non-affiliated, you can't, because is that
You
what you're
can't
saying?
vote in any
You
primary.
can remain unaffiliated forever, but you just can't vote in a primary election.
And then I.
It's because the primary election, although it's administered by the state or county government, it's not really, it's run by the party. The party makes the rules for
For primaries. That's right.
candidates and so forth. So if you declare yourself as part of a party, either by declaring it here or by voting in that primary, you have to ask them to leave the party.
But you can do
Yeah.
that.
You can do that. You can do that as
Yeah.
many times as you want.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I did not want to throw off the presentation. So
No.
by asking that
Well,
question, so
no,
just as a
it's,
suggestion, perhaps that could be a different slide with that
yeah,
discussion specifically. I don't know,
yeah.
but
It's,
that's where my mindset was.
yeah,
We
yeah.
actually
It's an
do have
important
another
question.
slide that we use during the primary that shows the students how it's the party that's picking the person they want to have on the ballot in November. So there's an image of all like blue people, and there's an image of all red people, and all the red people pick the red candidate, and all the blue people pick the blue candidate. And then those two winners come together for the election in the middle, because that's really what happens. It's like a little, it's a graphic, it's like a cartoon thing, so.
And there's also a matter of too much information. And it's
Yes.
interesting how many students don't really know what a primary is. And since they don't need to know that for a while, we kind of, put
Okay.
it aside for
Okay.
the time being. Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
and
All
then,
right. And anything else?
no,
Okay.
you're down to number 14 now.
Okay, box 14 is a request for a mail-in ballot for all future elections. If you want to receive a mail-in ballot forever, you can check the box, I wish to receive a mail-in ballot for all future elections. That means you don't have to request it every year, you're set. Also, if you want that mail-in ballot to be sent for a different address other than the address you are listing as your residence, you need to tell them what address to send it to. And then at the bottom, of course, do not forget to sign it. And if someone helped in preparing this voter registration application, the helper also has to sign. And sign with the signature that you want to be your signature of record.
Yes, Carol.
Two things I point out for the mail-in ballot. When when we've been registering kids who are like seniors in high school who are going to go away to school, we suggest to them that if they want to mail in, that they don't ask for a mail-in ballot, or if they do, use their home address, because that college dormitory address will be the one of record, and the next time they're due to vote, okay? The vote by mail ballot will go to the dormitory they lived in when they filled out this vote by mail, the voter registration form. And they won't get it because your dormitory changes every year when you live on campus.
Right, but if they don't check the box that they want the mail-in ballot for all future elections, they'll get it for the one election, and they could send it to their dorm.
But some of them may try to make that differentiation.
Right.
And the other thing I say to
absolutely
young people is that you mentioned about the signature. Make sure it is as close to your driver's license signature as is possible.
Right.
Good point. Good. Okay, so you want to show them the online form?
Sure.
Okay.
All right, there is an online form. Here it is. It looks the same as the other form, except that you can fill it in online, and Pat will show you how to check boxes and put in your name, and works very nicely.
And I'm not going to tell you my birthday. but you can just go on. I mean, it's a fillable form, and then you can save it and print it. So. And the video.
Also a video available. I don't know that we want to watch the whole thing, but
no, I'll just.
It's a 7.5, well, almost 8-minute video.
Right. Okay. So.
Okay. So after you get your paper ballot, fold it, tape it, drop it in a mailbox. It's already addressed, stamped. And this is important. Once you're registered, that's it. You don't need to submit another form unless you need to check one of those boxes at the top about your address, your name, your signature, or if you wish to change your party affiliation or become affiliated with a party. And there's a deadline on here, 21 days rather, before election, which in this case is October 12th. And that's it. You're registered.
Okay.
Now,
go ahead.
We are giving teachers a possible homework assignment to give to the students with these 4 questions to find the registration forms, complete it without submitting it, print the form if they can, and come back to class to being able to discuss the experience. So if the teacher wants to present this in parts with homework, would be the homework break. And there's another homework break further on as well. If they want to skip this and just present it as one long presentation, that's another option. They would just skip over this slide.
Right. And if you do choose to use it, then it's a good idea to come back to this slide 34 the day that you start the presentation up again, so that you can, debrief with the students and find out what it is that they experienced while they were doing it and resolve any issues. Okay, so next, the object is to make a plan or commit. You need to know when the election is, which this general election is going to be November 2nd. And you make a decision, how am I going to vote? By mail, by drop box, in person? And if I decide that I'm going to vote by mail, how do I get a mail-in ballot? And finally, how will I know who and what to vote for? So the question, am I going to vote in person or by mail? Well, if you vote in person, you will be going to your polling place. And there is a specific place that you have to go. You can't go to just any polling place in town. You have to go to the one that you're assigned to. And you'll see that when you get your sample ballot. You'll get also a separate mailing that will tell you where your poll location is. You'll be using a voting machine, or if you're told that you can't vote and you know that's your right district, you can ask for a paper or a provisional ballot. You can also do that if a poll worker says, I'm sorry, but there's a record here that you voted by mail. And if you know you didn't vote by mail, then you can ask for a provisional ballot. Provisional ballots are counted, but they're only counted after all of the other ballots are counted. And when you realize that there are more provisional ballots left over, then those signatures are compared. If you voted already in person, then, and they see that your signature is the same, then the vote will be the in-person vote that will count. If you did not, then your provisional ballot will be counted as your vote. The other way, and it's what we recommend, is to vote by mail. To vote by mail, you need to request a vote by mail ballot. If you have previously requested a mail-in ballot for all future elections, as Louisa just pointed out, then you don't need to request it again. But if you never asked before, or if when you asked earlier, you only wanted it for one election, then you need to request a mail-in ballot for the current upcoming election. There are 3 ways that you can return your ballot once you've filled it out. You can return it via a secure drop box, and that is the way that we're recommending because they are extremely secure. They're picked up daily. They're picked up in a nonpartisan fashion. Another thing that you can do is send it by the US Post Office. And a third thing you can do is you can actually take it to your Board of Elections office. All right, so how do you request that mail-in ballot for the general election? There are 2 options. You can fill out the vote by mail ballot application at the state website. And this is a picture of it, and we've already gone to the state website, so I'm not going to go back again. But the important thing to know is that you can't do this less than 7 days ahead. You have to do it prior to 7 days before the election. But remember, if you previously asked for a vote by mail ballot, you don't need to do that again. Or you can use the voter registration application that Louisa just went through. You just need to check the little box up at the top that says that you want a mail-in ballot, and then you fill out the rest of the form as is appropriate. This election, October 26th, is the deadline to apply for a mail-in ballot for the general election on November 2nd. If you miss that, you can go to the county office of Board of Elections and you can pick up a vote by mail ballot. But you have to do that by the day before the election at 3 p.m. So in this case, it would be November 1st by 3 p.m. And those applications have to be turned back to the clerk at the Board of Elections by that afternoon at 3 o'clock. I'll give you an example. I didn't realize one year that I was going to need to be out of the state on election day. And so on the day before, I furiously drove to my county office, picked up the ballot, picked up the application, filled out the application, handed it right back to the clerk, then gave me a vote by mail application. I filled it out and then I turned it back to them. So it worked out just fine for me. But there are times when you will need to know how to do that. Okay, the next thing is, sure.
Before we go on, there is a question.
I'm sorry, I didn't see the hand. Go ahead.
Yeah, it says I can only use the Dropbox. I can only use the Dropbox in my county, correct? And I think that is correct, that you need to use the Dropbox in your county, not another county. My guess is that if they receive, it's pre-addressed. So my guess is if they receive in Monmouth County a ballot that's addressed to Middlesex County, I would guess that they would send it on to Middlesex County, but I cannot vouch for.
I think we need to check that.
They do.
Oh, they do. Okay.
Yes, this, yeah, because I've worked with the superintendent of elections. And they
Wonderful.
explained that to us. Yeah.
Thank you.
That they
You're
will send
welcome.
it on. Okay.
Yes.
But sometimes you live closer to the Dropbox in another county.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You saved me a little bit of research time. Okay, so where can you go for information about the general election? Well, the first thing you can do is go to New Jersey Votes, and you can sign up for email notifications. I'm looking for the place where there we go. Okay, so if you sign up there, you get ongoing communications, you'll get all of the most up-to-date information, and then you can share that with your friends and your family. The League of Women Voters website, again, vote411.org, constantly updates. Vote by Mail New Jersey is a really interesting, really active organization. And there is a lot of information on this website that I haven't found anywhere else. So that's a good one for you to explore if you're talking with people about voting by mail. And the Monmouth County info at Monmouth County Votes is another one where you can get all of the up-to-date information on the things that will be relevant to the upcoming election. Now, who should you vote for? What you're looking for are candidates that reflect your own values and your own priorities. Vote411.org can help because it has detailed candidate information at all levels. And actually, it's particularly helpful at the more local level because there aren't very many places where you can find out about local candidates. Not everyone fills it out, but there is an alternative that you can go to. The nice thing about Vote 411 is that all of the candidates are given the same questions so that it's easier to make a legitimate comparison between the two. But you can still learn the values and the priorities of individual candidates if you go to the candidates' websites or their social media accounts to learn about their positions on issues.
I would like to emphasize, if I could, Pat, on Vote 411, it's only as good as the candidates who answer the questions.
True.
Sometimes the league has been having some issues getting people to really respond to those questions. So I don't want people to feel frustrated if
Good
they
point.
get there and the candidate they want information about has chosen not to answer.
Very true. Okay, and again, there's a homework assignment where kids are asked to find out who's running for the governor this particular time to see if they can name one of the responsibilities of a state assembly person. Just interesting questions like how much is the governor paid? You know? And then be ready to report their information back at the next class. Okay, Louisa.
Okay, our last step, number 3, is to actually vote now that you're registered and committed. Here is a demonstration of how to fill in the vote by mail ballot. What we've been recommending is when people receive their package in the mail to lay it all out on the table, see what you've got, and organize your thoughts and read the instructions before you go any further. The packet contains an instruction sheet, pretty well worded, easy to use instruction sheet, ballot, and 2 envelopes. On the ballot, you need to circle your choices using blue or black pen. Next to each name, there's a little circle, and you fill it in with a blue or black pen. Don't use a pencil or a marker because these ballots are scanned by machine and it won't pick up a pencil or a marker. Then you fold up the ballot in the smaller of the 2 envelopes. This envelope is called the certification envelope, and it has a flap on it called the certification flap. Do not detach or damage that flap, which is very important. You know, it's always tempting when you see a perforation to separate it. Do not. Because when that ballot goes to the Board of Elections, they need to have your signature on it. You need to complete the information on the outside of that smaller envelope and sign it. And place the smaller envelope in the larger envelope and seal it up. It's self-addressed and stamped. They get it, they'll check the signature on that flap, tear off the flap, and that's when your ballot becomes anonymous.
Okay, and the
We
video?
also, we also have a video that was made with the voice of Pat and the hand of Peggy Dellinger and the League of Women Voters of Southern Monmouth County, which shows you exactly what to do. I don't know if we want to take a
I'll
look.
just show the first couple of seconds again.
Okay.
And again, if, you know, when kids are doing this, if they've got the video to use with someone in their household, it's sometimes easier than just trying to remember and explain all of those things. And I'm hoping you're going to hear the sound in this. Let me know if you don't. Not hearing it? Okay. At any rate, it walks through the whole process and you will see the demonstration, putting it into the envelopes, signing it, putting into the other envelope, and so on. So that's an alternative when you're working with kids. Louisa, let's go.
There are 3 ways to submit your ballot. We call this casting your ballot. It's a mail-in ballot. You can use the US Postal Service. If you do so, it has to be postmarked by election day and received by, I have the date, I found the date later than put this together. I think it's a week later. It's November 8th, I believe.
Okay,
So
good. We'll help.
update that ballot. Another way is to bring it to the Board of Elections office. You can bring it in person any day up to, and that should say election day. So that's another little update we need to make. And in Monmouth County, that's on Halls Mill Road, and you can do that up to 8 p.m. on the day of the election. What we recommend for submitting your ballot is a secure drop box. This is what they look like for Monmouth County. They look pretty much the same for every county with a different county designation on them. And these are super secure. There is a daily pickup direct to the election office. We've been told that it's totally nonpartisan. They send out a Republican and a Democrat together to empty those boxes. There's a secure box inside the box. So it's completely safe. They have video surveillance, and you can do this up to 8 p.m. on election day. And there will be a list of Dropbox locations on Monmouth County Votes website.
Rosemary? Did you have a question, Rosemary?
Sorry, I'm talking and the thing is muted. Sorry.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
I have a question regarding what they call batch voting or batch ballots. So is it correct that we're only allowed to bring one ballot to the drop box, which is under video surveillance?
I think so, but I'm not absolutely certain. I know in the past it was 3, but you had to take those, like you could bring 3 ballots to a polling place, or you could bring 3 ballots to the Board of Election. Louisa, are you clearer on that?
Yeah,
part, or
no,
anyone else?
I'm sort of clear. It used to be that for the for the last election, you could bring only your own ballot to the polling place, mail-in ballot. Now you can't bring any mail-in ballots to the polling place.
Right.
And you can bring up to 3 mail-in ballots to the Board of Elections. But if you do that, you have to sign on the back of it that you are the bearer.
Right, the
Be
manifest.
18, and you have to be 18 years old to be a bearer. So that's two situations.
Okay,
As for carrying it to the mailbox, I assume you can carry them to the mailbox.
or to the
For the Dropbox, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure about the Dropbox.
I made a note so we can find that out.
Okay, I'm
Good
only
question.
asking because again, I'm thinking training from home. You
Yeah.
know, at home rather.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope there's no confusion because in the last election, you could bring your own mail-in ballot to the polling place. And they've done away with that. You can't do that anymore. So I hope people aren't showing up at the polling place with their mail-in ballot.
Well, maybe we need to make a very specific mention of that then when we use that last slide.
Mhm, mhm.
Probably,
Yeah.
especially the batch ballots, the 3 or the 1 or whatever it is. Okay, thank.
Yeah, thank you for
good.
that question.
Okay, so the big
Okay,
ideas.
here are the big ideas, the big takeaway ideas. Number one, register. If you're 17 and a citizen, online form is available. If you have a driver's license or non-driver ID or social security number and can upload, you can register with a paper form from the New Jersey Division of Elections or from the League of Women Voters. Here's the deadline, October 12th. Number two is commit yourself to voting. And if you've requested a mail-in ballot and it hasn't come, call the county clerk's office. There's the number, 732, so forth.
For Monmouth County.
Excuse me?
For Monmouth County.
For
'cause we
Monmouth
have
County,
people
yes, of
From
course.
Atlantic to Bergen County here.
Right.
So.
Maybe we should add that in the slide to Monmouth County Clerk's office. The deadline to apply for a mail-in ballot, there are two deadlines. If you're applying using the paper application for a mail-in ballot, you have to do so by October 26th. As Pat said, you can walk into the County Board of Elections office up to the day of the election and get one in person. And the last step, of course, is to vote. To complete the ballot, mail the ballot. It has to be postmarked no later than election day, or deposit it into a secure Dropbox, or bring it to the County Board of Elections. And the deadline, of course, is election day. And Pat has supplied those dates up in the corner. October 26th to apply for mail-in ballot, November 1st, deadline for in-person mail-in ballot applications. And
I'll make a comment in here, just kind of a funny aside. When we did this in one of the charter schools in Asbury Park at the last election, just prior to the primary election or the last general election, 2018, the teacher got back and he was so excited because his kids kept coming in and saying, I registered my grandmother for the first time. She's going to vote in her whole life, you know, or something like that. But he said, the thing that has gotten to me, he said, I will forever have October 13th, 2018 burned into my head. He said it so many times during the presentation.
right.
But it was really exciting to hear that it really had an impact on the kids in his class. And that was middle school. So I want to make the point that this is not just something that you want to share with high school students, because middle schoolers are so altruistic that they are often really good advocates for voting or almost anything else.
We were also mentioning more than once that there are deadlines, but people should just do it when they're thinking of it. Do it as soon as possible. It can't be too early. And students, you can help others register and vote from home as well. We know now that you understand how important voting is, how important it is for every age group, every race, every ethnicity, every person to vote. so you can become a voting advocate and apply what you've learned to help people in your household register to vote and use a mail-in ballot. And we have for you as a takeaway, your very own student advocate toolkit. It has all the information included in this presentation, and it has a guide written in Word with notes on how to use the presentation. So you can sit down with grandma and grandpa, with your parents, with your older relatives, and really help them become committed voters.
Thank you, Louisa. And the thing that that you need to know, I mean, this was a long presentation. This was for teachers to use in the classroom, or for you as a league member going into the school to use with the classroom to educate the teacher as well as the students in the class. But the student advocate toolkit, what the kids have, is much shorter and has just the really essential information for them to take with them, because this would be overwhelming. It also, you can use it on your phone. So that's the most likely way that kids are going to use it. They're not going to sit down with a slideshow or anything like that. And they can just quickly flip through to the piece that they need, and then they can use that with the people in their families. So,
and most importantly, it also has on the Student Advocate Toolkit a little timeline of what you can do from now till November 1st. Helping people register, making sure they're registered.
let me see if I can get back to that.
And it has all those resources in a list, so they can have an easy place to click on them.
Click. Okay.
A lot of the slides, of course, are the same.
Yeah, the other thing that's in the student version that's not in the adult is an excuses game, where kids are, they're exposed to excuses that people, young people in particular, often use to say why they don't vote. And there are answers also provided on the website. The kids can get the answers so that they have a resource to use if somebody is offering them an excuse, like my mail-in ballot won't be counted, for example. The answer, questions and answers are on that extra sheet that we have available. I'm looking for the timeline, Louisa.
It's at the very end. It's,
got it.
There's the dates, but there's also so what next, the slide previous.
Got it. Thank you. So they've got a reference to the things that they can do and the times that they can do it.
Yeah.
All right.
And then
So,
there's also a list of actual deadlines.
and that was the next one. That was the one that I first picked up. Okay. So essentially that's it. And then the last slide gives you the links to where you can find more information, or where they can find more information. And that's pretty much it for the slideshow. I'm going to stop sharing and would love